When I was in high school, I came to know who Christ was. And there was a youth leader who I had who was very close to me. And, she basically gifted me and a bunch of other students who were part of the program a devotion book. And one thing for sure was that when I was in high school, I was always on fire for God. And right now, I'm still on fire for God, but as you get older, you're always going to be facing trials and tribulations. You're going to be pushed to the max to see how far your faith can go. And within the last couple of years, I've gone to a point where anybody could have stopped believing. But for some reason, I'm the type of person that always chooses to see the bright side of every situation, no matter how bad it may get. And one thing I've always remembered from this one devotion book was one day that I read where it talked about being a lump of clay. And I remember it talking about a potter who is just sitting there with a lump of clay. And as he's about to begin, he looks at the clay and he starts to analyze it, look around it, see what he needs to do, what he needs to remove, how he can perfect it. So what he does first is he starts beating on the clay. He starts beating on it so that way all the air inside of the clay can start coming out. All the imperfections can start coming out. He starts removing clay. He starts adding clay to different spots. He starts molding it. He starts shaping it. He starts making it into his ideal version of what it is that he needs to do. I like to think that each and every one of us, we are that piece of pot of clay. We basically are all different. One person can become a plate. One person can become a bowl. One person can become a cup. We all have different purposes. No one is ever going to be the same. But the beautiful thing is that we come from the same creator. And that creator, he's investing in your life every single day. You may not see him. You may not feel him. But he is always going to put someone in front of you. He's going to always send somebody who's going to be there to redirect you, to make sure that you don't go to that party, that you don't go to that hangout, that you don't drive that day, that you don't go out that night, that I made you late on purpose so that way you don't get into that car accident. He's always going to be there for you. Sometimes we think that we are not perfect, but truthfully, we're beautifully made. And I think the way that I am sitting here, I'm going to be judged by a lot of people, but it's okay because I know that I am the kid who went to a program and I was providing for a lot of kids, and I try to make a difference for them because I wanted somebody to make a difference for me. And I'm glad that I was there to be a part of their lives. And I'm glad I get to be here to tell you this because I need you guys to understand that as we get older, we need to get closer to Christ. And as you see all the world events are happening around you, we're in a dire situation to literally get closer to God. You can take it as anything right now, but just take into consideration. Be moldable. Become the piece of clay that needs to be adjusted to whatever God needs you to be. And you will see that your life will be a lot different. And if you choose to not believe, it's okay. Everybody has that free will to believe in what they want. But as for me, I'm still being chiseled. I'm still being that piece of clay that has things being removed out of him, or has pieces of clay that's being added to him. Maybe this year I might be a plate, but next year God might end up molding me into a bowl. Maybe I might become something else. Who knows what? But as our life gets older and older, we start to come to know that there's different situations that we need to overcome. So stay strong. Start believing in God. Start believing in the stuff that he can do in your life. Sometimes we feel empty. Sometimes we feel like we can't do nothing at all. But once you start to realize that it is not up to us, that there's someone out there greater than us who can provide that protection, that can provide that comfort that we need to feel better. That's when you start to realize that each day is going to get easier. So stay strong.